now we have to figure out, what is the real story? Who was that message for? Was it in response to a photo? Whose photo sent? Like, did he see someone in real life, like across the bar, and was like sending it on the spot?
Am I the only one who thinks Madison and Michelle are making a mountain out of a molehill? They have treated their husbands badly throughout the seasons, and we are suddenly seeing them play victim. And it's like, why are you playing victim? If these men have moved on, it's because you showed them that you are not interested in them. And so they are looking for people that are interested in them. So let's keep it stepping. And then the tantric exercise with, Juan and Carla and Thomas and Camille. Oh, I just wanted the ground to open up and swallow me whole because I was so embarrassed for them. I couldn't understand how they could, with a straight face, do that on camera. They reminded me of Nate and his wife from that season, but hey, it is what it is. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 13. I'm sorry about the late upload. I've been a bit busy. I have so many shows I'm watching this week. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so we start off with Ike and and it's like, why are they still here? Why are they still here? Why are we still putting through this? Why are we attempting to sort of try and make it seem like this marriage, there's effort being put in? We can all tell there's nothing there. So you have her at this ice cream parlor. He turns up and then they make their orders and they go and sit down. He's asking her, when are you on your last date? How do you feel about dating? In his confessional, he's busy confessing that, it's really awkward for us to be going back after this is what we should have done from the start. And it's like, well, when you put her hand on your junk, maybe that's the moment you should have been asking her the questions that you're asking her now instead of wasting her time then. He then talks about going back to Houston to see his family. After he's asked her, what makes you happy? She says, ice cream, feeling valued, feeling supported. And then he says, what makes me happy is seeing my niece. And it's like, could you be more awkward? Could you be more awkward? He reveals he's going home to see his mum and his mum is looking forward to seeing him. And it's like, well, don't you think if you're going to see your mum, you'd bring your wife along? The stranger that you married so that she can get to know your mum? So that your mom can get to know the stranger you're living with? Don't you think that's a good idea? You don't need to take the cameras with you, but if you really are serious about this woman, that might be something you might want to do. You have talk about how she really is looking forward to meeting his mom again. And it's like, that's her saying, do you want me to come along? And he pretended as though he didn't get the signal. I don't even know why we're wasting time for her. She really could be doing better. She could be at her practice making money instead of wasting time with this young man. We have Camille and Thomas. They've got this massage gun. I love those massage guns. I wish I had one of my own. And she's sort of massaging him. He starts off by massaging her, and then she's sort of saying, Thomas is one of the nicest people, or he's the nicest person she's ever met. And she wishes, he's nice as well in bed, and she wishes he would manhandled her. And it's like, seriously. She's used to toxicity and chaos and being thrown around the room, on the ceiling and everywhere else. This is what she wants. For someone to just love her, she can't appreciate that. I don't get what she wants. So when it was her turn to massage him, oh my God, she had the gun on high. And then when he tried to scream, she said, don't act like a bitch. And it's like, oh my God. And then she had to call herself out and say, oh my God, I'm not behaving like the loving wife. And it's like, why would you feel the need to say that? You've already told him that he doesn't have the swagger. Now you're saying on camera that you wishes he could rough handle you. Make that make sense? Why not have that conversation with him off camera? I don't get it. Even the producers were shocked, and this was like, what? Is she used to 50 Shades of Grey or what? Make it make sense. I can't wait to see what happens with the two of them once, the cameras have gone off, because Thomas is really going to give her what. Be careful what you wish for, because when Thomas gives her what she wishes for, she's going to regret it. You have the wives talk about, meeting up for a girls' day. Madison is excited to be seeing the girls. You have Michelle talking about the fact that, she can't wait to meet the girls so that they give her their opinions about, the incident that's going on in her marriage, because she wants to find out how she can get honesty out of this man. And it's like, you never liked this man. You never wanted this man. So why are you grilling him? Why are you making it seem like you really are into him when we all know you're not? Make it make sense? So the ladies meet up for a sound bath. It seems Carla has rented a studio for them to have a sound bath, while the guys meet up for boxing. Juan has arranged a boxing class for them because they're both saying, we want you to release any tension that you're holding on to. So all the 5 ladies turn up, and yet Ikechi doesn't turn up for the guys' event because apparently he's in Houston for his homecoming. And so it's just side-eye. The guys are not bothered that he's not there because they said he's not going to open up about his marriage anyway. So whether he's here or not, it doesn't make any difference. The ladies are happy to be seeing one another. So they then ask and goes into detail about their marriage. The fact that, he moved out when they left the 1-month anniversary. He had packed and they had left. She tells them that, they met with the experts and it seemed like he wanted to really make things work. But nah, it doesn't seem likely. He doesn't want to discuss anything that's deep, and also he sort of wants to date her. And the girls were laughing because even said, if I were dating him in the real world, I wouldn't give him a second date. It would be one date and we're done. So because we are married, this is why I'm making as much effort as I can, because at the end of the day, I came in for a marriage, not for a friendship. And that was really cute. So you have reveal to the girls that, he came to the date, he didn't have his ring on, and she's now thinking that maybe wherever he is at this homecoming, he doesn't have his ring on. Camilla feels some type of way. And I'm looking at her side and I'm saying to myself, Camille, you've been complaining about, Thomas saying he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. I bet you're grateful that you have Thomas, because if you had Ikechi, he would have driven you up the wall by now. So I hope you appreciate, the man that you have. You have, Michelle decides to drop the bomb. She talks about the fact that, after David had spent time with Madison and Carla, he came home, he sent a message and the message was inappropriate and blah, 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 blah. And then you have Carla say, oh, but did you, Madison, see anything? Because you were helping him look for his phone. And Madison is quick to say, no. I didn't see his phone. I wasn't looking at his phone. And it's like, Madison, thou art protest too much. Are you and David up to nonsense? And the audacity to be complaining about this incident doesn't make sense to me, because this woman hasn't paid this man any attention throughout the experiment. We are already 19 days to go to the end of the experiment. Suddenly, she is aggrieved that he's busy sexting somebody else. Make that make sense? Make that make sense? David is telling the guys, he's giving his explanation. And as soon as he explained what he wrote, you could see Thomas was the first person to catch on to it. And he sort of made a face like, that's not it. That really is not it. You could have done better. You could have done something else. And so you can tell. I wish the guys had just pulled him aside and just said, go and tell the truth. Go and tell the truth, because you have to abort mission because your explanation is not working. Even us as your guys cannot back you on this. It doesn't make sense. And so I don't know. Personally, the only person who I think should still be in the experiment is Camille and Thomas. Everybody else should have gone home. They should have gone home. I don't even know why they're there, why they're even wasting each other's time. Obviously, the guys are sort of trying to help each other, keep at it, sort of make efforts to make their relationships grow. But it's not making sense because there's no connection there, and there's a lot of things that have happened that have turned people off and given people the ick. I'm going to need someone at MAFS to tell me why we are pandering to this woman. I don't get why Michelle is getting special treatment every single time, and yet people like are being treated like crap. Because she meets up with Pastor Carl, first of all, and she offloads, oh, David had a message that was inappropriate. Oh, he lied to me. Oh, he did this, that, and the other. So Pastor Carl is already fed whatever she wants him to know before David gets there. By the time David gets there, Pastor Carl has already been told stories. And she's making it seem like David is busy texting women. From what he said he was talking to his exes he's been texting his exes, and I think he had met up with one of his exes. And for her to say David is busy texting other women and is busy meeting up with other women, ma'am, you haven't cared about this man since day one. You haven't cared about him since he told you that he lived in his parents' basement. So why are we making it seem like he's lying to you now? Why are we making it such a big deal that, he's been deceiving me, he doesn't care about me, he doesn't... No. This is why I appreciated David for saying, if we're going to talk about the text message, can we talk about this marriage from the start? And I'm happy that he brought it up, that I felt neglected. I've felt dehumanized because of the comments she's made. I felt unattractive because she's criticized every single thing about me. She has criticized this man. She's criticized the way he walks, the way he dresses, the way every single thing she could find to criticize, she has criticized. And suddenly now, because of the message, and she's realized that other people might actually be interested in him, she's decided that she wants to know the truth. And she's now obsessed with knowing the truth. Because she even said, Pastor Carl tried to sort of get them to sort of reach an understanding, and David was standing on business that I deleted the message, and he was asked to contact his cousin. He refused to contact his cousin, which didn't make Michelle happy because she was trying to prove that she's in the right, he's in the wrong. And it's like, madam, you have no leg to stand on. You've treated this man badly throughout the experiment. So the idea that suddenly you are, this vulnerable person, this voice of reason, doesn't make sense to anyone who has ears to hear and eyes to see. It doesn't make sense. Pastor Carl, I think in the end was fed up, and he knew he couldn't do anything, because he was saying to them, if the two of you cannot reach an understanding, then you need to have a conversation and move on. And so for her to go outside and start questioning him, you're not looking great, you're not coming across great, you're coming across as a liar, as a cheater, and I expect your cousin. No. Why are you adamant that you want to speak to his cousin? About what? About what? You don't care about him. You've told him that you don't care about him. You've made it so clear to everyone with ears to hear that you don't care about this man. So why do you want to know whether the message was from his cousin or not? What will that do? Will that suddenly make you attracted to this man? Will that suddenly grow your connection with this man? No, it won't. So what's the point? What's the point of you sort of nagging this man and sort of pushing him? I'm happy that David stood on business. And then for her to turn around and say, I am going to try and get in touch with his cousin, but I know she's going to lie. It's like, who are you to sort of predict what the cousin is going to say? What makes you feel like you know the cousin so much that you know she's definitely going to lie on David's behalf? Make that make sense? So this is not about you wanting to know, it's about you wanting to be proved right. You are now addressing your issues from your childhood with this man because of what? Make it make sense? So you have Dr. Pia visit Carla and Juan. They're the first couple that she goes to see, just checking in with them and just trying to find out where they stand. And so you have Carla reveal that she arranged for Juan to meet her mom and dad because she felt that was important as the next stage in their connection. And she thinks it went very well. And Dr. Pia is like, wow, that's amazing. Juan, do you think it went that way as well? And he has the audacity to describe the food and talk about the food that was served by her parents. And it's like, Juan, you're not serious. You really are not serious. I don't think he likes her romantically. I don't know whether he went into the experiment wanting a wife because of how good looking he is, how fit he is. He could have easily have found a wife. I don't know whether he was there to promote his app or whether he was actually there for marriage. That is a question that I think a lot of people will always have about Juan. But then he goes into describing the food and everything. It's a Mexican household, so there were tortillas and whatever. And you had Dr. Pierce sort of say, we have to come back. How did you feel about the environment? How did it go? And it's like, this man is not feeling it that way, and he's not trying to be open to the idea of a relationship with her. So he's not trying to commit himself on camera, sort of saying anything positive about the relationship. I think Juan is already checked out. Carla might still be in it, but he's checked out. And it's like, what is it about Carla that he doesn't like? Is it the fact that she's all over the place and she lacks sort of some sort of stability? Or what is it in particular that he does not like? What are we missing? What are we not being shown? Because when you see her, she comes across, yes, she doesn't have a job. Yes, she doesn't have a permanent address, a fixed address, but it's still, she is trying to make this relationship work. So that's something I can give her, that at least she's making the efforts to try and sort of make sure that this has a go and it actually works for the better. So I don't quite get where he's coming from. Dr. Pierre talks about them wanting to explore, their intimacy, and he says he's game, but I don't know. I don't think he is. I think he's saying everything he thinks that the experts want to hear so that he doesn't get in trouble, because he was already worried about seeing the experts when he found out that Dr. Pierre was coming. So when she walked through the door, he wasn't expecting her. He thought they were waiting for Carla's friend, and he was really taken aback. You have Madison and Alan meet up with Dr. Pierre oh my God, that dog is all over the place. That dog needs a trainer. They need to go on a show where you train your dogs. That's where Alan needs to go next. Because it was here, there, and everywhere. It's a good thing Dr. P is not afraid of dogs. I would have stayed outside. I would have told them, lock it in a room, and then I'll come in. So they're busy talking, and they're saying, they're really working hard. And I feel like these two people have been putting on a performance. They've been putting on a performance from day one, from the day that they got married. Whatever turned Madison on, she hasn't even seen this man as a man. She says she was happy with the game that they were given because it opened up other channels for them. And she's open to the idea of exploring a physical connection with this man. And it's like, just tell Dr. Pierre the truth. I wish people would be honest and would stop wasting time, because oftentimes people say yes to the experts, and then once the experts have left, they then turn into this Brazilla or Grumzilla, whereby they don't want to do anything. So I'm a bit surprised that, Madison was saying she's open to the idea of exploring a connection with this man, when we all know that she's already checked out. She doesn't want anything to do with him, and she's ready to move on. You have Dr. Pierre visit Thomas and Camille. It's always very cute, I think, when Thomas and Camille have expert visits, because they are very easygoing. They're in this happy space. So experts, I think, are always diving to go and see them, because they really want to blossom in this love and this compassion and this care that's sort of growing amongst these two. And so because they don't have any sort of major problems, Dr. Pia had to bring up their SEX life. And it's like, it's listening to my parents talk about their SEX life, because I was so giddy, I was so embarrassed, I couldn't even listen. Oh my God. It seems like what Camille is asking for is 50 Shades of Grey. And it's like, oh God. And then to hear Thomas talk about what he gives and how he gives it, oh my God. It was just a bit TMI. It was TMI. From my poor little ears, too much to listen to. They're happy. I'm happy for them. I love the fact that they are having open and honest conversations, but then at the same time, I'm a bit shy, because I think, what if their families, because they look like the strongest couple of the season. Let's be honest. They look like the strongest couple that Mavs has had in a while. And so them talking about their SEX life, it sort of reminds me of, what's her name? She was on the After Sun the other day with her husband, who was constantly doing things that were so embarrassing and shocking. And so I really hope they continue to grow as a couple. But I also hope when the experts come, they're getting more from their experts visits than just topics that are sort of I don't know, because we do hear them talk about stuff. With Dr. Pepper, they spoke about their childhood. Dr. Pierre, they spoke about their SEX life. Pastor Carl, I don't remember whether he's had a sit down with him, but they seem to be willing to grow. They seem to be open to developing as a couple. Camille, I'm side-eyeing you. If you want this man to do everything for you, then give him what he wants. Because he had a request, but she turned it down. She said, we have to wait for a bed. And it's like, why is she waiting? Why is she waiting? Did she look at the one-eyed monster and was scared and was like, nah, we're not doing that? What happened? But anyway, I'm happy for them that they love it. And if they love it, I love it too. So you have she's gone back to her apartment. She says she doesn't feel comfortable in the shared apartment, so she's gone back to her own place. And I understand it and I empathize. This woman is going through a lot. I don't know why we're still keeping her in the experiment. Allow her to go home and just relax and get back to her everyday life and start dating, because this man was never here for the right reason. So there's no need for her to continue to go through this with someone who's really not feeling her that way. You have Juan and Carla. They are waiting for someone to come around so that they can do some tantric yoga. So they decide to sort of Google it up, and they come up with poses, and they're sort of practicing the poses. I think Juan is checked out because he keeps calling her dude. And it's like, why don't you tell her if you're not here, if you're done and you're checked out? Why continue to call her dude? Yes, he's being polite. Yes, he's participating in whatever he needs to participate in, but it's pointless for them to continue to sort of try and beat a dead horse. There's no point in trying to make things work when the two of you know that nothing is working. You have David. He's talking about the fact that, Michelle hasn't come back to the apartment, and they're still at a stalemate because of the fact that they both want to be right in this matter. No one wants to sort of lift up their hands and say, no, I was wrong for saying this, or I was wrong for suspecting you. David continues to stand by his word that he is not sort of, lying. He wasn't trying to see someone. He wasn't sending the message to a female. And it's like, David, your message doesn't align with your explanation. Just tell the truth. If you had told the truth, a lot of people would have been on your side because this woman has really put you through it. You have Madison and Alan. They're playing a game. So they've been given some dice by Dr. Pia in a basket with other gifts for them to sort of explore and grow their connection. And while they're having the conversation, so, Alan is asked, what was your first impression of me? And he says, the way you dance on the dance floor and the fact that you like to party, I just thought of you as a party girl. And that sex for you was transactional. And so, as if wherever she's got in life, she's got there by having people do it for her, and she's sort of paid them back, it seems like, in sex. And so it didn't sit right with her, but she was able to compose herself and able to remain with a smile on her face. And you could see Alan felt bad, and he was saying, this is the first impression that I got of you when I saw you dancing on the wedding day, but that has since changed because I've got to know you. But she stuck on the first words that came out of his mouth, and he was stuck there. There was nothing else he could do or say that would have changed her opinion about him, which is really sad that at times we need to think before we talk. And as much as you were trying to stop his mouth from speaking, it was too late because she already felt some type of way. He went out for a walk with his dog, and then he came back once the cameras were off, and they tried to have this conversation, but she said she's not willing to move on because, she's already said on camera that, this is something that a lot of people have sort of accused her of, and they haven't appreciated that she's a very hardworking young lady. I think the things that work against her are her age and the fact that she likes to party. And because of those two things, people have made assumptions about her, whether they're correct or not. People have made assumptions and they've stuck by those assumptions. And she has to look at herself and ask herself, what am I doing that's making people think this of me? What in particular makes them think that I'm a party girl? What in particular makes them think that I'm not serious about life? And she'll get her answers. Until she does that, she's always going to be stuck in the circle where people are always constantly judging her and making incorrect assumptions. So Thomas and Camille received their box from Dr. Pia. And they say, be careful of the quietest people because they're the most mischievous people ever. Some of the stuff they were doing, I was so embarrassed. I kept covering my face. I couldn't help myself. I was so shy on their behalf. And yet the two of them were going. They didn't seem bothered that there were cameras there. They reminded me of Nate and his wife. I've forgotten her name. She was on the after party recently. Because they really went in, and so I was so embarrassed I had to fast forward most of it, so I didn't get to see that. But hey, if it makes them happy, who am I to judge them? To each their own. You then have Madison and Alan. Madison is now playing victim. Alan has given her what she's been looking for, because I don't think Madison has been into this guy since the day after the wedding. And so she's been looking for a reason to leave this man, and finally he's given her the reason to leave, because she keeps harping on at the fact that he called her a prostitute by his comments that he made that she was transactional. So she feels some type of way. Alan is concerned that she didn't come back to the apartment. She feels some type of way because of that comment. And it's like, I feel like Alan is collateral damage. I think a lot of people have said that to her, and because people have said that to her, he sadly was the last person to say it to her, and she took it seriously. And I don't think it's as serious as she's making it out to be. Yes, it's disheartening to think that your husband sees you as someone who's into transactional sort of sex, but still at the same time, there was no need for her to sort of say she's taking a call and never come back, because around 1 o'clock, Alan was doing a confessional saying, I'm concerned she hasn't come back. And it's like, one of your biggest problems is your lack of communication. Have you sent her a message to say, are you okay? It's been a while. Yes, he felt bad for the comments that he made, but still, if you're feeling bad and if you're worried, send her a message instead of doing a confessional. That's just my opinion. Unless they spoke to the producers and the producers said she's not coming back, so you need to do a confessional so that we show what happened. Maybe that's the only other thing I could think of. Calls Dr. Pia just to say, she's moved back into her apartment, and the fact that she hasn't heard from her husband, even though he promised that he would send her a message first thing in the morning and at night, but he hadn't sent her any messages since he left. And Dr. Pia is shocked to find out that they both haven't moved back into the apartment, or the fact that Ike hasn't moved into the apartment. And it's like, this is a bit too much. What are the producers doing? Are they not updating the experts regularly? They need to be updating them daily, in my opinion, or every sort of 24, 48 hours, just so they know where the couple stand, or if a situation arises, they need to update them. That's the impression that I get. Well, that's just my opinion, because otherwise it's pointless to call the experts when things have gone down the road and things are terrible, and then you start saying, oh, where are you? We need you to intervene. No, you should call them as soon as a problem arises. Even the issue that happened between Alan and Madison, the experts should have been called. Dr. Pierce should have been called and should have been told, this is what has happened as a result of your box. Can you help them navigate this? But no, the producers want drama, so here we are. Dr. Pierce says, she asks to say, are you going to send him a message to check on him? And said, no. Good for her, because if she checks on him, he's going to turn around and use that as a weapon, that why didn't you check on me? If she doesn't check on him, he's going to use it as a weapon against her to say, why didn't you check on me? You don't care about me. So either way, she's screwed. Whether she checks on him or she doesn't, I would rather she not check on him. Let him be upset that he wasn't checked on, rather than him being upset that, why did you check on me? I didn't want you to check on me. So either way, it's a no-win situation. So she might as well save her mental health by not contacting him. And I'm happy that she actually spoke up for herself and said, I'd rather, preserve my mental health by not contacting him than contacting him. And then he lashes out that, why did I contact him? So, hey, it is what it is. The experts need to have a commitment ceremony on Married at First Sight USA. Jesus are messy for bringing that old lady to be part of the tantric yoga and then showing her bum was not it. Because seriously, maybe, I don't even know what to say. I get why Juan was laughing, because it was hilarious. I don't know whether it's because they thought that if they brought him someone maybe around his age, the two of them might sort of have a problem and say, yeah, attracted to the tantric yoga person, because it did not make sense. It didn't make sense. And it's like, if Juan had been into it, then they would have said he's got a, issue because he likes older women. Carla tried her best. She is trying for her marriage, so I have to give that to her. She seemed really into it. She seemed really excited to be doing it. I think as many things as she can do and sort of get under her umbrella, the better, because she can use that for her studio when she opens her own place, her own business and stuff. She can incorporate that. So I love the fact that they did this. I love the fact that they did the tantric yoga. The more things that she can show on camera that she's capable of doing, the more likely people are going to frequent her when she opens her own place. Once the lady left, they tried to do, Juan said he would make Carla, the subject, so she was to lay down and he would sort of perform whatever they did on him. And it was ox galore. I don't think he finds her attractive. For what reason, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm trying to think, why exactly is he not attracted to her? Does he have a type of woman that he normally goes for and Carla doesn't meet that type? What is it? I don't get it. You have Alan and Madison finally meet up, because Madison is still upset. She feels like Alan should not have called her someone who's transactional in relationships, and she feels, very offended and devastated and heartbroken. They tried to have a conversation. It failed the first time. Then they went back to their apartment and they still tried to have a conversation. And Madison is saying, I really care about you. This is why I feel some type of way. Here's how I feel, or this is my thought. Madison and Michelle don't like their husbands, and they have tried as much as they can to sort of go along with this thing. Now they're looking to shift the blame onto their husbands so that the viewers can blame their husbands, that you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Because as much as Alan was insensitive in his comments, he has been profusely apologizing. And for her not to accept it's up to her. She can either accept the apology or not. If she's not going to accept the apology, then it is what it is. Keep it stepping. But there's no need for you two to continue to rehash the situation. We heard it the first time, the second time, and the third time. We're ready to move on. It is what it is. And then you have Michelle. She phones, David's cousin to sort of say, I want to confirm something. David made a claim to me and I want to check if it's true because I don't believe what he said. I feel like he's lying and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, you don't believe what he said. You feel like he's lying. You haven't really been into this man. You said he's not your type. You've been closed off. You've told him you're not attracted to him. You don't like what he wears. You don't like what he does. You don't like anything about this man. So why are we making such a big deal? For her to phone the cousin, I wonder if she told his cousin that she was on speakerphone. I wonder if she did that. And because the cousin refused to lie on his behalf, now this is going to be a big mess, because apparently he's going to be confronted at the couple's retreat and he's going to have to explain himself. For her to start mumbling, I want questions, I've got questions, I want answers, I want this. This is why he's moved on to other women. I wish he had been honest and told her, well, I've been flirting with someone just because I've really poured my heart and soul into this marriage, and this marriage hasn't worked. So I feel it's time for me to try something different and move on to someone maybe who has more feelings for me. And he should have left it at that. What would she have said? Nothing. The fact that he lied, this is why they are where they are. But anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 12. Bye guys.